So if you were sat in this chair, what question would you ask Jamie Ashpole?
When are you going to take a break? There are sleepless nights, there are worry days, and there's just a lot of worry.
Let's talk about then the early days of setting up a business, because there'll be a lot of people that watch this that have been through that journey or are thinking about that journey. How hard was it?
Tough. It almost broke me mentally, almost broke me financially.
Explain then from the start why we set up JJA Snack, what the plans are, how you then integrate that into education.
JJA Snack was basically me trying to inspire the next generation of engineers by using chocolate.
Why you?
Why not me?
Huge thank you to this week's podcast sponsor, Enginuity. Enginuity is dedicated to closing the skills gap in UK engineering and manufacturing, creating a thriving and more productive sector that is at the forefront of delivering solutions to society's greatest challenges. Thank you for watching this episode. I hope you enjoy it.
My name is Jamie Ashpole. I am the Managing Director of JJA Pack, Snack and Track.
Okay, give us a brief overview of the three of them then.
JJA Pack was started 13, 14 years ago, and it, as a company, has grown year on year. We basically service some of the biggest confectionery manufacturers in the UK, from the brands that everyone will know, right the way through to companies that people won't know. And we design and build process systems for those guys, so be it chocolate handling systems, ingredient handling, chocolate tanks, etc., etc. JJA Track is a data set where we're actually using Siemens Insights to monitor machines 24 hours a day and basically predict when they're going to fail. And then JJA Snack, which is my newest venture, is all about trying to get kids involved into engineering.
Okay, and Track, is that on your own machines, or is that a business that...
Anyone's.
Okay, third
Anyone's
party.
machines.
Okay.
As long as we know where to look for the data in the PLCs, then we can get it. Even if we can't get access to their PLC, then we'll put in our own, and then the required sensors.
Okay, so take us right back to the start. Where did you grow up? What did you want to be when you're older?
I come from Bedford. When people used to ask me what I wanted to do for a living, my standard response was a submarine washer. Yeah, I know, random, but that was my, I don't know. Just
How
my
did that
joke.
come about?
No idea. Just I thought it was funny. So, but basically, like most kids, had a paper round up early, did all of that stuff, and then a summer job, basically working for my mum at a tin manufacturing company. Like decorative tins. And then my first summer job, sort of like leaving school, was creosoting fences on a landfill site. So I basically started at one end, worked my way right the way around and started again. That was my summer job. Then I got a job looking after a couple of service teams, one in Wolverhampton, one in Harrogate, for an IT supplier, equipment supplier. And then I transferred from there, looking after a team in London, looking after catering equipment. Then moved to a tooling company on sales, internal sales, so selling, cutting tools, etc., to machining engineering companies. And then went to work for an American company, again looking after the service team. A couple of service engineers that travelled all over the Middle East. And they were short on site one day at Bisto Gravy. They were installing 3 new lines to basically seal the tops of the gravy granules. So they needed a gopher. I volunteered. And yeah, that was it. I was hooked. I enjoyed what I did. And then I took part in an in-house, informal sort of like apprenticeship, I guess.
Okay.
And then
How old were you then?
About 22-ish.
Right, okay.
And then basically, I've gone from...
So not the normal college, university route?
No, I mean, at school I was not the best.
Right.
So I was given the opportunity by a gentleman by the name of Roger Kirkham, and then the rest is history. I've travelled all over the world, repairing, installing, building new machines for companies. And then I set up JJA Pack about 13, 14 years ago. And gone from there, basically.
So what was the trigger to set JJA Pack?
So myself and my wife were trying for kids, and travelling 9 months of the year in the Middle East isn't conducive to that. So we basically, I started looking for a new job. A German company was looking for a UK-based engineer in the chocolate industry. So I went to work for those guys. Wasn't what I expected. So there was still quite a bit of travel. So I decided to look elsewhere. I was offered a number of jobs, and then I was thrown a bit of a curveball by the company who I was currently working for, and they said, well, we don't want to see you go. Have you ever thought about setting up your own company? And I had, for years and years and years, but never really had the financial capacity to do so. But this opportunity gave me the ability to start JJA Pack. I've gone on and done pretty much the same as what I was doing, travelling absolutely loads, but it's pays the bills.
Let's talk about then the early days of setting up a business, because there'll be a lot of people that watch this that have been through that journey or are thinking about that journey. How hard was it?
Tough.
Yeah.
I was fortunate because I had someone supporting me from a service point of view, but to look for new customers is always tough. The biggest thing that I would recommend to anyone is don't just stick to what you know. Challenge yourself on a day-to-day basis, because that's the only way that you'll grow the business and grow your reputation.
Yeah. Do you have any favourite memories from that time?
My favourite memory, I would say, is the very first machine I built as JJA Pack, and it's still in operation today.
Okay.
And it's at a very, 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 very well-known chocolate attraction in Birmingham.
Yeah. Okay.
So any people that are watching this video, if you've been around that attraction and you've got a cardboard cup with some chocolate in it, I built that entire system. So the chocolate tank, the chocolate pump, the rotary machine, right the way through to the sushi style conveyor was all conceived by me. That was probably the hardest job I've ever done, going from doing lots of things with different people and companies to doing everything yourself, managing finances, parts, building it, designing it, getting it running.
How did the project even come about?
So previously I'd worked for that company,
right,
through my previous company, and I got on really well with the guy that was in charge of the area. They were going through like a revamp of the event, and I gave him a suggestion, because everyone that was going around was getting the same cup of chocolate, but it was dispensed by operators, so there would just be a ring main of chocolate and they would tap off. So I floated the idea of giving them something a little bit more showy, a little bit more repeatable, and yeah, that was it.
You mentioned earlier about a role model or someone that sort of steered you into manufacturing. What was his name again?
Roger Kirkham. Not so much that he pushed me or guided me, more that he gave me the opportunity, and probably believed in me. He was a really nice guy, and gave me my opportunity to do what I did.
Would you say he was one of your mentors coming in?
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Have you picked up many mentors along your career?
Not really, not so much. No.
Something a lot of people talk about, and I always look back and I don't. I've had managers that have pushed me in directions that have helped me, but I've never really had someone that's like sat down and looked at my career and you need to make these moves, or I'll introduce you to these people.
Yeah, I've never had anyone other than my parents. Supported me massively. I've never really had that person. There was another guy who for the life of me, I can't remember his name, but he was one person that gave me some advice about setting up a company, and he just said, work every single hour that you can, because that's the only way it's going to be a success.
Yep.
So,
what's the hardest challenge you've ever faced?
Probably the machine for the well-known company.
Yeah.
It almost broke me mentally, almost broke me financially, just because of, contract payment terms, etc., etc. So that was probably the hardest thing in recent times. Working away is tough, really, really tough. People see it as a massive jolly doing what I do, and people like me, not just me, but people, engineers, service engineers that are doing what we do. It's tough, if you're on your own for long periods of time, and if you've got a machine that's, not performing as it should be, you've got, the customers giving you grief, you've got, the machine giving you grief, and, you just go back to the hotel at night and you're just constantly thinking about it. So
yeah. What about in personal life?
Well, probably most people that know me, I don't really have a personal life. It's more, my focus is on work. It's not the greatest thing, I admit, but work is probably the toughest thing. So
there's something in that. The podcast episode that's out now, Sam Bainham, his big comment was that he doesn't believe in a work-life balance, especially as a business owner. And we ended up speaking about this for about 20 minutes of the podcast, about how each other cope with pressure of the business takes over your life. And actually, I'm sort of on the same wavelength as that. For the business to be successful, it needs to be your life anyway.
Yeah.
You can't have a 9 to 5 and then still build a successful business.
No, I agree with that. What is nice though in recent times is that, as I've got twins, Danny and Ellie. I've been able to involve them in the company. Amazing. As well.
How old are they?
They're 14.
Okay.
Twins. So I've been able to bring them in. And as part of JJA Snack, they're quite pivotal as well, because they're my STEM ambassadors. We've just rebranded JJA Snack. We're going to call it JJA Kids. So the new logo is animated version of Danny and Ellie. So they are a huge part of the business. They get involved, they come up with new product ideas, they come and help at the factory. So when we've got big groups in, they're not working, they're not at school or doing their hobbies, then they're working with me. So
amazing.
Yeah.
Must be very proud.
Super proud, yeah.
Right, let's get into JJA Snack then, because that was further down my questions, but we might as well get into it now. It's fine. It's much better if you lead it than me. Let's explain then from the start why we set up JJA Snack, what the plans are, how you then integrate that into education.
So JJA Snack started about a year and a bit ago, I suppose, on paper, maybe 2 years ago on paper. And it was as a result of two things. Number one, since working in the chocolate industry, I love the idea of having my own chocolate bar, that's number one. Number two, because of the job I do, we're constantly working away, you're working on sites and you don't see any new engineers coming through. I've recently had an operation on my knee that's highlighted the fact that we need new engineers coming through. And I'm part of a couple of organisations or that I work with, and the plans that we're talking about, with the government and stuff like that, they're years away. Yeah, absolutely years away. So me setting up JJA Snack is to try and inspire the next generation, to show them that engineering isn't always dirty. It isn't, always back-breaking work. There's some pretty cool stuff out there, and what we're trying to do is just give kids that spark to show them that, or to get them to think about where stuff comes from, because it's not just about the chocolate, it's also about how they got there on the day. A bus, a car, everything in their single lives is engineered, it's manufactured, and it's trying to get them to think about that. So JJA Snack was basically me trying to inspire the next generation of engineers by using chocolate as a hook.
Why you?
Why not me? You know, if everyone did what they said they were or talked about doing, then we wouldn't be in this situation. You know, me as I'm as good as any other person to do it. And what I think is important to me, you know, school is important, university is important, apprenticeships are important, but engineering isn't just about knowledge.
No.
It's about common sense. If you have really, really good common sense, engineering is something you should look at going into. You know, yes, you know, there are professors, there are doctors, and, you know, with engineering degrees and all of that, and they are super, super clever, way cleverer than me, I openly admit that. But, you know, if you haven't got the doers at the coalface, then we're in trouble.
Yep. I normally ask guests, imagine you were stood in front of a classroom of the next generation of engineers, but you already do. So what advice do you give them?
So I've done two events recently. First one was at JJA Snack, and I had a girl come up to me, and she actually goes to my kid's school, and the question that she asked me was, in engineering, do you have to be good at maths? And I said, well, depends. And I said, I let her into the secret that I'm not the greatest, or wasn't the greatest at school. And I said, look, you know, maths is important, English is important, science is important, but it's not the be all and end all. You know, you can work super, super hard. You can create your own opportunities to do what you want to do. So yes, it's important, but it's not the be all and end all. The second one that sticks out in my mind is I did a school event, a careers event, and this young lad came up to me and he said, I want to become an engineer, but I've been told that I don't have the right personality to do it. And that just blew my mind, and I said, what do you mean you don't have the right personality? And he said, well, I don't like talking to people, in front of people. And I said, oh, mate, you and me are exactly the same. You know, what we're doing today is super uncomfortable for me. But, you know, I reassured him that you don't have to talk to people. You know, when I go to site, I hate talking to people. The only people that I really, you know, listen to, and my customers, you know, are probably going to hate me for saying this, is the operators, because the operators are working with it day in, day out.
They understand it.
You know, and you know, they'll understand that if a machine was making this clicking noise and now isn't making that clicking noise, they know that there's something up. So they're the people that I do talk to. The rest of them, you know, it's, you know, as and when I have to, basically. So
yeah, I think for both of them examples, it goes back to that young people just don't know what jobs are out there.
100%.
So we do a lot of education stuff. We did one with Siemens at Warwick University, and one of the best parts of the talk was the sales manager at Siemens that just put on the board the different job titles that exist just in Siemens. Because, I mean, these students are second, third years at university. They're coming into industry very, very soon. They're going to be in the deep end pretty quickly. And they were coming up to us afterwards and asking us what sort of job they should go for. Well, because they don't know what jobs exist.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous. And they're, you know, 18, 19, 20-year-olds. Never mind school kids, primary school, secondary school.
You raise a really good point there. You know, trying to show kids what careers are out there is super, super difficult. But, you know, this is where we need to be working with schools more and more. My kids have just gone through the process of choosing their GCSEs. And I was sat in the auditorium, and no offence to the school, but it blew me away how they were talking to us as adults, but also what they were pushing the kids towards. you know, it just blows my mind that we're not able as an educational system to offer every single course out there to every single student. So things have got to change. So me, by doing my small bit, showing kids that, you know, chocolate's pretty cool, but look at all the technology behind it, you know.
Yeah, I purposely asked you why you. It's a question I've had multiple times, and I say the exact same thing as what you said, why not me? Because there's been so much talk for so long that if people don't take action, nothing will be done, because the people that talk are waiting for government, or they're waiting for someone to stand up and they'll follow. But it's very difficult to do it. It's the problem that I've seen from the bits that we do, is that it's really impactful at the one school or the one college or that 2 or 3 classes we do in that day, but they are 0.0001% of the kids that we all need to speak to that week. And for one company to scale that is impossible, which is probably worth mentioning, like the Enginuity Alliance, which we met at
absolutely
before Christmas. So I'll add the link in to the description of this video for people to find out about that. But it's about pooling resource and making it a bigger project for more people like us to work on projects together.
Yeah.
Would you say the big job you did in that factory, or the fact that your kids are now involved in the business, either of them two the proudest achievement in your career so far, or is there something else?
The chocolate factory and involved with my kids, the combination of both, probably the proudest moment in my career.
What is Engineers Insight? So Engineers Insight is a free mobile app for engineers to have access to industry 24/7 from your phone. So I worked in manufacturing for 12, 13 years, got really frustrated with relying on print to find the latest technologies. So we came up with this newsfeed concept of all the latest products with the manuals, the application videos, CAD files, brochures. You can send inquiries, you can bookmark stuff, so you're not saving on your laptop and it goes obsolete every time a firmware changes. Now there's jobs, so it gets updated every week. You can search keywords, you can search distances from postcodes, and you can apply. You just attach a CV from the files in your phone. And then the next one that's coming is training. So if all goes well, 2025 we'll be launching a central training calendar with the MTC training to allow an engineer to have access to everyone's training courses in one place. So you could book a robot course from any of the big vendors, a PLC course from any of the big vendors, multiple other vendors involved, and then you only raise one PO. So I think that's the quickest overview of Engineers Insight I could give. Let's talk about teams or leadership. Because it's very hard to go from working for yourself and then to build a team and to build a brand and now multiple businesses within that. How did you cope in the early days, like going from just you on the tools, building a machine, to then having engineers or office, admin, finance, whatever you've got?
All of that. It's been tough. You know, I'm sure that many of my staff say that I'm not the greatest of leaders. Communication skills is something I definitely need to work on, but I think that's as a result of maybe being so insular in the job role and the jobs that I've done previously, working away, etc., etc. Building a team is tough, super tough, but I'm really fortunate that I've got some really good people working with me, for me, with me, and they are from similar backgrounds, so they've all been on the tools. Still are on the tools. They've all travelled. They've all done very, very, very similar jobs to myself, as in the working away, the lifestyle, etc., etc. So it is extremely tough going from, you know, working for a company to a one-man band to building a brand, building multiple companies, and juggling all of those
But yeah, how do you find the time?
Well, there's 24 hours in a day, so...
You got to sleep at some point.
Yeah, well, you know, people that know me quite well know that I don't sleep very well. But yeah, it's you know, it's tough, really tough. So, but like I say, you know, I've got good team members now. Someone working directly for JJA Snack, new guy, Michael. He's doing amazing things. I've got Adam Robinson, Adam Jessup, Craig Bates all work for me, you know, and they're all super guys. So,
okay. And what's the hardest part about managing them? Not them specifically, because you've named them, but sort of falling through the ceiling.
The hardest thing is just making sure everyone's happy. Is trying to put their feelings, their thoughts at the front of my mindset, but also alongside that having the company's goals as well. So juggling those two is quite tough.
There's some hidden stresses as well that maybe employees don't normally see. What about the sleepless nights, worrying about payments and getting salaries sent? And...
Yeah, so you know, the financial aspect of it is tough. You know, you've got as a small company dealing with the bigger companies whose payment terms are interesting, does add financial stress. You know, there are sleepless nights, there are you know, worry days, and you know, there's just a lot of worry. So yeah, there are things that employees may not see, but you know, it comes with running companies, and I chose to run the companies, so it's not like someone forced me to do it. This is my choice, you know, and I love it.
Would you make that choice again?
Yeah, maybe not 3 companies, but yeah, no, I would, yeah, definitely.
Okay. I've got something in my notes about you being a big Sheffield Steelers fan.
I am.
Okay, talk to me about that.
So, every year on Boxing Day, there is a rival match between Sheffield Steelers and Nottingham Panthers. And I bought my wife for her Christmas present tickets to that game. But I bought them quite late, so we sat in the wrong section. We actually sat with the Panthers fans, and I always remember that game for 2 reasons. It was the first Steelers game that I went to, but also there was a Panthers fan lady next to me that just kept screaming in my ear. Did my head in. Genuinely did my head in. But yeah, we went to the game, and it was just so fast, so just spectacular to watch, and then left that super buzzing, was going to go back more and more, but the thing that I noticed was that there's so much sponsorship around the arena, on the shirts, etc, so I just thought, nah, in for a penny, in for a pound, let's find out how much it'd be to sponsor him. So I met with a real nice guy, Mike O'Connor from the club, ex-player. He came out, and sponsorship isn't as expensive as I thought. So I became a team sponsor, one of the team sponsors. We've got season tickets now, and yeah, I think I've signed up for the next 4 years. So.
Oh wow! So where's the logo?
So the JJA Pack logo is on the forearm. So it gets seen quite a lot. But we've also sponsored the Chuck Puck event during the game. So basically, between the second and third period, everyone throws, or not everyone, but if you buy a foam puck, you throw it to the centre of the ice towards the mascot. The one closest to the centre of ice wins, I think it's a voucher and a JJA Snack chocolate bar. Cool. But also for the entire row as well.
Oh,
so
that's a good idea.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool.
Is that your way of taking your mind off the business?
100%. Yeah. I have a good friend that comes out every single match called Jack Daniels, and that's just my chill time. So.
Okay, so you allow yourself a couple of hours a week.
Yeah, I mean it's tough, work and juggling the games. But yeah, that is my time to chill.
Yeah. What's next for you?
In personal or work?
Either.
Just to continue what we're doing at JJA Snack, build that, look for new supporters, financially, because one of the big things is that obviously running these experiences it helps cover the costs, but it definitely won't pay for it long term. So we're looking at developing new products. So we've developed an Easter range, we've got chocolate bars, but we're looking for more collaborations with supporters, general public, schools, etc., etc. So it's.
So is it like a sponsorship that you're looking for?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. So we have lots of different packages. We've got a couple of sponsors already, and supporters, but we need to increase that to make sure that we keep the doors open and make it affordable for schools as well, because that's one of the things. When I first started out JJA Snack, I wanted to make sure that every single person that wanted to come to that place could come to that place. So we've priced it at a point where I think it's affordable for most people, but if we can work with companies, you mentioned Enginuity Alliance earlier, we're working with those guys as well to see how that we can get funding to bring schools in that can't necessarily afford to pay for the full amount, and working with more diverse groups. So schools is one, scouts is another, general public is another, but we want to build on like send groups as well. We've had a couple of those come through, and some of the best questions that I've actually had came from those students. So very direct, which I like, because I'm very direct. So
if you were sat in this chair, what question would you ask Jamie Ashpole?
When are you going to take a break?
And when are you going to take a break?
Good question.
I thought that myself.
Yeah. It's I do get like we said, Steelers is my time. That's my chill time. So,
but for you to think that's a good question to ask.
Yeah.
It's obviously front of mind.
Yeah.
What about like burnout? Are you not worried that you keep doing everything for too long? You're not going to be doing much of it.
You only live once, eh?
You do? Yeah, supposedly.
So, yeah, it's, I'm passionate about what I do. I love the job I do. I love the machines we build. I love the systems we build. I get to come to work. I forget the headache of, the admin, the paperwork and all of that stuff. I get to come to work and do a job I like. As I'm sure there's not many people in the world that could say the same thing. I really enjoy, going and repairing machines. Mm-hmm. Walking into a factory and the line is down, costing thousands upon thousands of pounds per hour, and the pressure that you face from the moment you get on site is, I don't know, I thrive on it. I love it, and then, yes, you get paid to do that, but the biggest reward I get is when someone says, "Oh, thanks very much."
Do you consider yourself successful?
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
Why?
Just because of where I've been, what I've achieved. I've been given opportunities. I've by various companies, organisations. I've been given opportunities to build machines for people. That if you told me that I was working for some of the biggest names in the chocolate industry when I was at school, I would have said, "No, you're talking out your ass." But I am, and that's through hard work and success. In pulling off some of the jobs, and some of the jobs that we get are tough, and some of the jobs currently I'm not gonna lie, they're tough, and we're struggling, but I know that we'll get there, you know.
And the success you've had, would you attribute to hard work or luck?
Hard work, I would say. A luck element does come into it because, you know, when you're awarded a contract, you know, yes, you do all your due diligence, you price it right, and you're competitive, but ultimately it's luck whether you get that job or not. You know, there are buyers out there that will look at me, look at my company, and see that we're only small, but the stuff that we pull off is phenomenal. So yeah, luck is integral to any business, I would say. Not just, you know, me, but for businesses to succeed, there's always a certain degree of luck.
That's all my questions.
Awesome.
Huge thank you for doing this.
No, thank you.
Thank you for what you're doing in Skills Gap as well.
Cool.
It's obviously a very important topic to industry, to all of us. We're all very passionate about it. But we need more people to do things about it like you are, so I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Cheers.